That's the problem. Like, I really had like two moms. Like, I had my mom, obviously.
Why is that a problem, though?
Because it was like, you're supposed to be my homegirl. And it was always, no, Coach Staley's like my second mom. And I could never escape that.
This month on Womanica, we're doing something special. We're featuring a series of episodes about elite athletes brought to you by Nike. This is Nike On Air, stories of athletes who've pushed the limits of what sport can be. I'm your host, Jenny Kaplan. This episode, Dawn Staley and A'ja Wilson, the Coaches Connection. Dawn Staley is a 3-time Naismith Coach of the Year and 3-time national champion in women's college basketball. But there was a time when coaching wasn't even on her radar. She was a player.
I grew up in the projects in North Philly, and there was a lot of things that you can get into. Sports was probably the safest thing. I played football, I played baseball, softball, I played basketball. And then once I chose a sport, it was basketball, only because someone saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and they wrote me about it. But it was the magical thing that kept me focused, and it got me focused on one sport. And then I just played everywhere. I just played on the playgrounds, I played in the recreation centers, I played in my house. We had these, in projects, you had these vents, but they had a little lip on it. So we would ball up some aluminum foil, and we kind of play on the lip. We shoot jumpers on the lip, we dunk on your brother on the lip. That's when my competition and my love for basketball began.
Coach Staley went on to play at the University of Virginia, where she became the school's all-time scoring leader. After she graduated, she played overseas, and in 1999, she was the 9th overall pick in the WNBA draft. Throughout her career as a professional player, she won 3 gold medals with the U.S. Olympic team. When she was offered the head coaching job at Temple University in 2000, she was initially uninterested.
And I just saw somebody as a coach, much older, much more experienced. I just didn't feel like I wanted to be responsible for like 15, 8 to 22-year-olds when I was like 29. And I'm the youngest, so I didn't have the skills of being a leader like I had envisioned in my head to be a coach. But then I got challenged to turn a Temple women's basketball program around. And that's when my vision cleared up for me, because I'm drawn to challenges. And I didn't know anything about being a college coach, nothing. So I pretty much treated everything like it was a huddle. As a point guard, you huddle up, you say, hey, this is what we're gonna do, and basically that's how I got through my first year of coaching.
So when Coach Staley first got to South Carolina in 2008, with 8 years at Temple behind her, she thought she'd figured the whole coaching thing out. But South Carolina was a new kind of challenge.
Basically, the players were like, this is not basketball. This is not a basketball program. It's not a basketball school. This is any of that. So first you have to go through the denials. It was bad. And I always take a different outlook on things. I just find the benefit of the doubt in everything that I do. And this group of young ladies, they just fought it and fought it and fought it and fought it. And I'm like, okay, well, we just gonna have to get through this year. And then the next year, it was pretty much the same thing. And then we got a big recruit left. And then I thought that was kind of the turning point in our program. Sometimes you gain by losing. And this is all the process of building, because you just don't have one straight direction and it's up. You have some good days, you have some bad days, you have some worse days. And then that was the thing that we needed to just kind of get people all on the same page. We have to have a togetherness. And it took the big fish to kind of leave in order for us to tighten up. And then we just started recruiting players that had aspirations to being professionals. You had the WNBA, shoot for it. Let's shoot for it. Once we got players who were, like, the majority of our team was on the same page. not the minority, the majority. Once you have the majority of your team thinking right, you got a shot to be successful.
When A'ja Wilson first started playing basketball, she likely wouldn't have thought she would be part of that majority. In fact, she probably wouldn't have guessed basketball would end up being such a big part of her life, period.
My path was a little different. I wasn't great out of the bat.
A'ja played on an AAU program that they didn't really play anybody. And most of the time, she didn't look good. She was just really tall.
I was someone that was a late bloomer. I was someone that didn't really like the sport, but I just slowly started to fall in love with it. My dad really was the one that gave me an opportunity to play, to say, hey, let's give this a try. I wasn't the best, so I didn't play a lot, but I love the camaraderie. I love the just kicking it with my friends. And then I slowly started to fall in love with like winning. I wanted to be a part of winning. I wanted to have a choice to be like, no, I made a difference in the game. I wanted to feel like when I hoist that trophy, like I actually did something to deserve it. So then that's when my dad bought my first basketball goal when I was maybe like 13, 14 years old. And you couldn't get me off the court. You couldn't get me out of the driveway. And then the rest is kind of history. I just fell in love with it, continued to get better at it, always watched it.
A'ja's love for the game landed her on Coach Staley's doorstep.
When I first took the job at South Carolina, I would see her dad all over the city. And he would just brag on her. Like, you got to see my daughter. Oh, my daughter, my daughter. I would see him at the church eating, my daughter. He would actually come up to the office and like, my daughter. And I thought it was like a myth. I didn't even know he had a daughter because he kept talking about it. I've never met her and I've never seen her. And then she graced us on campus at camp. I don't even know how I took him seriously after that. Like, seriously. Like,
I went to that camp and had the time of my life doing nothing, getting a participation certificate, like so proud. I was like, no, like this is actually pretty cool. And then I wanted to continue to come around. I wanted to see more about the program, and the program just started to flourish. Like it just started to grow. And then I was like, you know what? I want to be a part of that. Like, I want to be something. I always say, like, it just so happened that Coach Staley was in my backyard, but I feel like if she was in Alaska, Hawaii, anywhere, I would have gone to play for her because that's just the energy. It just was like a perfect match that you were in South Carolina. But I would have followed you.
She was ready to be part of that majority Coach Staley mentioned. She had the mentality to be a winner, and now she had the physicality and skills, too.
And then I'm going to tell you exactly when I knew you were a player. You remember you played AOT in Orlando?
Yes.
And that was Taya Cooper, Diamond DeShields. It was like the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
They put this AAU program with all the NBA daughters. And A'ja wore them out. Like she was talking trash and she was backing it up.
In 2014, A'ja committed to South Carolina in style. She brought in an ESPN camera crew to cover the big day.
It was important to me because I saw the guys do it, and I never really saw like a young lady do it. And I was like, well, I want a chance. Like, I want people to hear where I'm going. Like, duh. And it was also a big moment because I got out of class early. I pretty much got the whole school out of class early. So I was like, y'all welcome. Like, come on, see me come to South Carolina. But no, it was just a big moment for my family. I'll be attending the University of South Carolina. I just remember just being in the back room, making the calls to the coaches saying that I'm not going to come. Some answered, some didn't. So it kind of made my life a little easier. But then when it came to South Carolina, I remember calling Coach Staley, and I kind of had it in a voice where I was like, I wasn't going.
She got me. She got me. I was trying to find some excitement, but, you know, you can get a feel for a person when, because we've heard more no's than yeses, but you know the no voice.
Yeah.
She had the I'm not coming to South Carolina voice. So I was like, hey, A'ja. All right? Seriously, I thought it was over. And then she said she didn't really have she didn't have a whole lot of time, so I just want to let you know, come to South Carolina. We erupted because we were watching. Obviously, we were waiting for the decision. We knew it was going to be something different, like an era of a difference maker, a program changer, all of those things. So, I mean, we were very, very happy.
A'ja was confident in her decision and was determined to prove the doubters wrong. She felt the pressure of wanting to have an impact at a school that wasn't known for its women's basketball program.
The hometown South Carolina girl could have gone anywhere in the country, but stayed home minutes away.
Going back to just like my freshman year and even committing to South Carolina, a lot of people were just like, I mean, your list is full of teams that already won it, that's done it, that knows the feeling. So why go to South Carolina? And it was just a sense of like, I have to prove all these people wrong that I made the right decision. And I didn't expect it to be my freshman or sophomore. Like, I didn't know when it was going to come, but I was like, I'm literally leaving here with something just to prove all of y'all wrong.
Coach Staley played a key role in achieving that goal because a coach is more than someone to call plays and run practices.
Coaches are super important to a young person's navigation through life, because you have to allow them to grow. You have to help them in tough spots. Not tell them what to do, just kind of guide them, like make them communicate. Because it's about that moment, but it's also about creating moments that will help them familiarize themselves with situations that can help them later. It's about allowing them to grow into who they are, whether we like it or not. Like, we can't be judgmental. Like, we got to allow them their space to grow. And once they are who they are and who they're going to be, like, we have to be okay with it. I would like our players to find themselves as soon as possible. Like, as soon as you can find who you are, whether that's in your freshman year or your senior year, things clear up for you. Your life gets more lean. And when your life is lean, you make better decisions. And you know what you want in your life, and you know what you don't want in your life. So for me, it's trying to get them there quicker, but also allow them to understand their process of learning and growing.
Her method for helping her players find themselves extends far beyond the court. It goes into their classrooms, their living rooms back home, and even their dorm rooms.
You're trying to figure out what your core values are and what you just won't fight. Because some things you just won't fight. But how we built it is we made everything inclusive. So we make people feel really good about being a part of their child's journey, their daughter's journey. And we kept that. Like, to this day, we keep that same formula. Like, everybody's welcome, because we want the people who are in our players' lives for us to have the biggest voices and the biggest right voices.
Her formula worked. Coach Staley improved the team's record every year in her first 6 seasons as head coach. And during A'ja's freshman season in 2014, the Gamecocks earned their first #1 ranking. But by A'ja's junior year, they were still chasing a national championship.
On paper, we looked good. On paper, like, we had 3 or 4 lottery picks, WNBA lottery picks, but we still hadn't quite meshed for some reason or another. That team wasn't what I thought a national championship team looked like, sound like, or feel like, because they weren't really competitive outside the games. Like, they didn't want to play pickup. They didn't want to do anything.
Nothing.
Like, nothing. And it took a while. Like, you really have to meet players where they are. And we had an injury to one of our starters, our starting center, Elena Coates, probably 4 games before the end of the season. So we had to just pivot. We had to switch up some things. But I thought once we had that injury to one of our players, brought our team together. It was the thing that we needed to rally behind, because we went from somewhat being the favorites to we don't have a shot at winning. And once the players start hearing that, that's when we got closer and closer and closer.
They were so close. The pressure A'ja felt to prove the haters wrong reached a peak in a Dallas hotel room the night before the big game.
So when we had that opportunity in Dallas to go get it, I remember hyperventilating in my room the night before. After shoot-around, I had my best friend, Alicia Gray, come into my room, and she's like, why? I was like, kind of lied, and I was like, hey, I just need you to borrow your soap. So she comes in with soap, and I'm just like bawling my eyes out. And so Alicia's like, do you still need the soap? And I'm like, no, like I can't do this, because it was pressure. It was a lot of pressure.
Thankfully, the anxiety was temporary.
But then once we let that ball up and we just started playing, I was like, okay, like we're good. We're in this. And we kind of went on a run. It was good. We was feeling ourselves. And I remember Coach Staley was in that locker room. She was just like, y'all know they're going to go on a run, right? And we were like, girl, no. Like, girl, we got this. Like, we pretty good. We were up by at least double digits. I'm like, we good. We got a good cushion. We came out that third quarter and Mississippi State turned into the Lakers. And they were on our tails. And I remember just looking like, oh my gosh, like, this is the moments that I watch on TV. This is the moments that's like, this is why March is March. And I didn't want to be on the wrong side of March. So we kind of got ourselves together. And it was just a big moment.
Final 7 seconds. South Carolina. A spectacular performance. And South Carolina has won the national championship. A'ja Wilson and the Gamecocks are #1. For the first time in school history, NCAA champions of women's college basketball.
I lost my grandmother the year before, and I was contemplating even wanting to play. So just to kind of fast forward and get that chip underneath me was just huge. And like with the squad that we had, it was an incredible run, and it was just a lot of fun.
For Dawn, the win was extra sweet.
So it was cool to kind of see that evolution of our team in that situation, just kind of get that first national championship, because that was one of my goals as a child, because that's the only time that I saw women play on TV was national championship and gold medals, and those are my goals and dreams. And I never thought I would check off the national championship, because once we lost in college, I was like, oh, was it meant to be? And then the old coaches called me and got a chance to do it.
And she did it again in 2022 and 2024. Part of Coach Staley's success can be attributed to the strong bonds she forms with her players. A'ja is no exception.
It was like, you're supposed to be my homegirl. And it was always, no, Coach Staley's like my second mom. And I could never escape that. But then Coach Staley also allowed me to be crazy. Like, she allowed me to be myself. But she'll also, like, reel me in. She knew how to reel me in. Like, my mom, you know, she always was biased. Like, oh, my sweet little girl. Like, she's not crazy. But no, Coach Staley's like, no, she's crazy. Crazy as hell, actually. But she allowed me to do that. But then she understood how to, like, reel me in. And I think that's what made us so close, is because, like, just being comfortable, but yet making me uncomfortable so I can be successful, so I can see my full potential. But it'll be days I'll go in her office and crying over boy problems. And she'll be like, it's okay, but you still have to practice, sweetie. So, like, I need you to get your stuff together. So it's like little things like that. Like, it was just like, no, like, I really needed someone real in my corner in college, because I didn't know what I was doing. And so, yeah, Coach Staley allowed me to kind of still be that college girl and like to enjoy that side of college. Don't get lost too much in the student athlete side of it.
Though they're now across the country, not just across campus, the pair's relationship remains strong.
Coach Staley knows when I'm like going crazy or like my anxiety's at an all-time high, because I want to be the best and I want to be great at something. And I think after I graduated, it just got bigger because I'm on a bigger stage and a lot more is expected out of me. And I'm just a young rookie in Vegas trying to navigate somewhere where I was very uncomfortable. But Coach Staley put me in a lot of uncomfortable situations in college. So I was sort of familiar, but I was just familiar with her around. So then when I go to Vegas and Coach Staley's not around, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, basketball just left my mind. So she's like, well, no, you can still play basketball. Like, you're still good at what you do.
You know, the bigger the stage, A'ja's anxiety levels just shoot through the roof. But it's the very game she plays to kind of get in the zone to play. but she's got to go through it. Like when she's amping herself up to play in the WNBA championships, like she's like, I want to win. Like I can't do this. Like she'll say this, like I can't do this. Like what is she? Get it out. Like get it out. And then, she'll have a bad half, right? I'm like, halftime, she like, da-da-da-da-da. I was like, put your phone down.
Their roles were reversed this year during the women's NCAA championship game. Coach Staley was the one who needed a pep talk.
I'm just getting myself together. Like, but she flipped it on me because she texted me before our national championship game. And my anxiety levels were high, and I'm just not like that. I really am not like that. I'm pretty cool. So I gave her words. I said, I just want to win, right? I just want to win. We probably said some other stuff too.
Right.
But the gist of it was, I just wanted to win. I needed her to knock my anxiety levels down a few notches, and she actually did that for me.
This was a new feeling for Coach Staley, who's usually calm, cool, and collected during games.
That's the easiest part of the job, is during a game. Like nothing else matters. You can't answer text messages. People aren't talking to you. Like it's just a game, and it's cool to be in that mode of trying to outfox the other coaches, and you're working off of what you see. It's almost like if you're a pilot, it's autopilot. The plane will run itself. It will fly itself. It's like that in a game. I'm looking at our players. I'm seeing if they're doing the right things that may not have the results that we want. If you're doing the right things, if you're taking the right shot, right? Good shots are going to find their way in. So I don't get too low with the lows when shots aren't going in. If we're executing defensively, but we're not getting stops, I'll let it go. Because it'll right itself. It's when things aren't going right that I'll call a timeout. For me to call a timeout is something really is going on, because I'm not a timeout. Oh, the change, they're going to run, let me time out. I'm not like that. If things are going right, they'll write it. They'll write it.
A'ja's game day mindset is decidedly different.
A million things are going through my mind, honestly, from all over the place. Obviously, just communicating. I try to be a vocal leader. I try to communicate a lot with my teammates, because it doesn't only just help them. It helps me out more than anything. It keeps my mind going, keeps me engaged into the game, because sometimes I get bored very easily.
Called distracted.
Yeah, I get distracted by a lot of things during the game, because it's like, why would you wear that to a game? Like, why? And so those little things like that really kind of keep my mind everywhere else. But I'm also very blessed to be able to play with coaches that aren't like throw the chair coaches. Like they really are kind of calm. And if they're even keeled and their head is like steady, then I'm the same way. But I'm also a perfectionist, so I want to make every shot. I want to make sure that I am on time with everything, because it gets my teammates open. It makes it a lot easier on all of us. So I'm constantly thinking about the next thing. Sometimes it kind of takes me out of the moment in itself. But I enjoy the moment later on after the win.
But that's an elite athlete. That's just so if some younger people are listening.
Yeah, don't follow that.
Yeah, like she created that habit. Like she really understands what's happening out there, but she does get distracted. She can bring herself back. So young people, you stay locked in.
Please. Yeah, don't
stay locked in. If you're trying to get a scholarship, that ain't the way to do it.
Yeah, no.
Okay?
No. At all. Do not follow me.
A'ja and Coach Staley took different paths to success in their sport. It's informed how they see their contribution to the game.
I just wanted to continue to be an odds beater. Like, the odds of me being successful from where I came from were very low. And I know there are other people out there that look like me, that grew up like me, that people don't think will amount to anything. I want to be that light for them, and let them know that although the odds are stacked against you, there are people and things that you need to discover in order for you to change your situation. For me, I mean, then being a dream merchant for my players. Like, I really want my players to win, like at all costs, and doing it the right way. Like, not shortchange it, but just win. Once you create a foundation, a really strong foundation of how to navigate through life, how you can strengthen yourself, from, the pitfalls of just everyday life. Like, you're going to have them. Like, they're going to have them. And the odds, I want them to think about the odds, because the odds say if you continue down this path, right, you're going to be one of those statistics. If you don't, like, you have to build in mechanisms in order for you to be successful.
A'ja hopes her impact will extend beyond the court. Because of that, she's intentional about who she partners with.
My story gets told a lot of different ways throughout the season or any places that I'm in, but Nike allows me to tell it in my way that I want my audience, my fans to get. And I think that's pretty rare, particularly being a Black woman. A lot of people don't want to hear our stories. So to be able to be that voice for the voiceless and give them a chance to see me front and center, or me showing up into little things, I think is so key, especially when you're talking about a big corporation like Nike that has that huge platform. To be able to kind of say, no, we want to be athletes first, like put it out there. And we all look in different shapes and sizes. The diversity of it all is something that I'm grateful to be a part of.
A'ja knows that while her contribution to the sport is important, who she is as a person is even more so.
I think about my legacy as just being real, being a human. I think a lot of people look at the accolades and see me play or see us play and think that, well, we don't have emotion or our lives are perfect and like we should be happy about where we are. And that's true in some cases, but then at the same time, it's like, no, I struggle with anxiety. I have some depression. Like I go through things, but it's not going to dim my light. I'm still going to show up every single day and be the best person that I could be the best A'ja that I can be. So I want my legacy to be, and I always say this, like, oh yeah, she's a good player, but she's an even better person. Like that's where I want to leave my mark. So when people see me, they know it's real. Like I'm going to laugh with you. We could cry. We could pray together. Like I'm there because I'm human. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be honest with you. And sometimes it may not come out the best way, but that's going to be my honesty. Like I like to hold people accountable because I want to hold myself accountable.
Tune in tomorrow to hear from Janae Casnavoid and Ibtihaj Muhammad, two incredible women who are redefining what an elite athlete looks like.